Okay, I am going to show you how to graph a tan graph. So let's start with just the regular tan with no transformations. So a tan x, we need to know, I'm going to make a quick one up here, looks like this. Goes through 0, 0, and it has asymptotes at pi over 2 and at negative pi over 2. So those are the asymptotes, x equals. And halfway between, because the period is pi, and as you can see your b value is 1. So the period is pi over 1 in this case. So it's pi, and so our step for the key points would be pi over 4. So if I go pi over 4 this way, 1/4, and there's the 2/4, and I need to go backwards as well. So negative pi over 4 and negative pi over 2. And at these points, that's where you're going to get your amplitude, which is 1 in this case, is going to be right there. And down here would be negative 1, and that would be this point that matches up. Try to make it right in there with that. So that's a regular tan. So now let's just do it, one that's transformed. So I'm going to get back to the black here. And let's graph this. Y equals 2 tan 1/4 x this time minus 3. Okay, so really the key things are the period. And the period now is going to be pi over b. And the b value I can see, just in case you don't know, there's your a value, there's your b value. There's no phase shift, and here's your d value in there. So in this case, the pi over b is going to be pi over 1/4. And if you take pi and you divide by 1/4, you're going to get 4 pi. So the step for this one to find the key points is going to be 4 pi over 4, which is going to be pi. That's a nice way to step. Okay, so I'll make the axis in blue. Here we go. And I know there's no phase shift, so 0 is, first of all, I'm going to work with this d value here. I'm going to work with this d value, then minus 3. And then the 2, that's going to become a factor of the amplitude as I go. So we're going to go with, we'll graph this in red here. So this thing is going to be shifted down 3. So I'm going to put this at negative 3 here. So negative 3 is what we want. And then I'm going to step in pi's. So this would be 0, and then pi and 2 pi. And now remember, that's where my asymptote is going to be, because I know that the tan starts at the axis where it's been shifted. So there's 3. And then I'm going to go backwards, negative pi and negative 2 pi. And that's going to be another asymptote. So you kind of want to go forward and backwards when you're doing the tan. And then the amplitude here, which is right there, that's going to affect halfway between. So if it's negative 3 and my amplitude is 2, so then negative 1 and negative 5 are going to be my key midway points. So that's going to be right there at pi, and at negative 5 halfway there. And then I can just make a nice picture of it like this. All right. Now I'm going to, so here you can, I graphed it on Desmos, and you can see here pretty clearly that right there, there's the negative 3. You see these are by 5. That's that negative 3, 0. And then 2 pi and negative 2 pi are the asymptotes. And then here's the thing, when you're going, the amplitude was 2, so up to when you went to -3 up to -1. See that point right there? -1 pi. And then at negative pi, it's going to be down to -5. You see, it's perfect on those. So there you go. There's a tan graph for you. I hope this helps.